Hello everyone, welcome to Mindful and Bellyful. I'm Sophie. So here I'm going to take you guys a little bit more in depth to how I structure my classes. So normally we'll start off with a pranayama. So here I'll be talking about the two simplest ones, Samavriti and Durga pranayama. And so Samavriti basically just means same action or fluctuation. So that's a very simple 4-count inhale through your nose. And then a 4-count exhale, also through your nose. And normally for this technique, it's good to be in a cross-legged position, Sukhasana, or you can maybe sit on the backs of your heels, whatever is the most comfortable for you, maybe even sit on top of a block. But here I'll be in a cross-legged position. I normally put my palms facing downwards, just resting on my knees. Feeling a long extension through your spine. And then you can choose here to close down your eyes completely or just keep a nice drishti gaze, nice calming in your eyelids. And then normally we'll do 3 rounds of this breath. So with your eyes closed, maybe counting, of course, at your own pace. There is no rush here. And then slowly, calmly, and controlled, exhaling the air out. And then, like I discussed in my previous video, pranayama is really important for both yin and yang yoga, especially for yin, because a lot of times, even as we're going through the different asanas and poses in yoga, your mind still may be very busy. So when you bring your attention and concentration to your breath, a lot of those thoughts can dissipate and you can find a bit more quiet in your mind. And then with yang yoga, it's a little bit more physical, in the sense that oxygen is just getting to your muscles where they need to be, because it is a little bit more rigorous. More demanding, more blood flow needs to be coming to your muscles in order to get you from asana to asana. Talking about Durga pranayama, you'll just take your left hand and bring it to your chest, right above your heart. And then your right hand will come to your belly. And with the same deep and controlled breath in through your nose, you're just going to bring your attention to the circulation of air, and also paying attention to the temperature of it. So as you feel the cold air come in through your nose, filling up your lungs, and filling up your belly. And then on the exhale, through the nose, through the chest, and then lastly through the belly. Then we can do 2 more rounds of this, just at our own pace. You can be counting the 4 counts, maybe making them shorter, maybe making them longer. And feeling how when the air is exhaled through the nose, how the temperatures change to something a little bit more warm. Moving on to the yin series. Yin is really beneficial in terms of strengthening the joints. It'll really target the connective tissues, which is really the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons. I will encourage you to be in Sukhasana, cross-legged position. And we're going to focus on the 4 spinal ranges of motion. So each of these poses will ideally be between 2.5 to 5 minutes long. That's where you start to get the real benefit of targeting this deeper tissue. But here, just in this preview video, I'll hold each pose for about 1 minute, just so you can get an idea of the sequencing. So the first range of movement will be lateral flexion. So just taking your right hand, placing it right next to your right hip. With an inhale, you'll reach your left hand overhead and then over to your right side. And you can just keep your gaze looking straight forward, maybe looking down towards your right hand, or maybe if your neck allows, allow yourself to look at your fingertips or maybe past your fingertips of your left hand. And although you're making this lateral movement away from your left side, you want your left sit bone to be just as grounded into your mat as your right. Relaxing your brow and then bringing your concentration back to your breathing, in through your nose and out through your nose. And then calmly shifting to the other side, right hand comes up overhead, reaching up and over towards your left side. Feeling that long extension, that stretch from your right hip all the way to your right fingertips, all along your side bodies. Coming back to center, we'll focus next on axial rotation of the spine. So that literally just means we're going into a twist. So again, dropping your right hand over to your right side and then using your left hand to connect with your right knee. You'll give that sense of resistance as you push off of it and then just turning your body over to the right side of the room. Right hand can stay close to the right hip, or it can actually extend a little bit further behind you if you want to deepen your twist. And again, shifting your gaze maybe all the way over to your right shoulder, or keeping it in a neutral position. Coming back to center, switching it over to the other side. Right hand comes to the left knee, gazing maybe over your left shoulder. And coming back to your breath. In any of these yin poses, you can close down your eyes. It's meant to be as relaxing as possible. And then coming back to center, we'll go into everyone's favorite cat-cow. And this is really great for the spine because it focuses on both flexion and extension. So here, just come to a tabletop position. Shoulders will be stacked over the wrists, hips stacked over the knees, and toes just pointed straight back. So once you find this nice supported tabletop position, as you inhale, just gonna drop the chest to the ground, keeping the gaze forward. This is the cow pose. Finding your sense of grounding with the palms of your hands, your kneecaps, and the tops of your feet. As you allow your chest to sink down towards the ground, but also remain supported by your shoulders and your hips. And then to reverse this pose, we'll go into cat, where you bring your back concaving towards the sky, and you really get a sense of pushing the ground away with your hands, not forgetting to place that same grounding pressure off of the tops of your feet. And then here we'll take a cleansing breath, or also known as Kriya. So in through your nose, and then a nice deep exhale through your mouth. Close down your eyes here. One more Kriya breath in through your nose. And then a nice juicy exhale out of your mouth. Going into our Yang series, we're going to focus on the strengthening of our bones by focusing stress on the surrounding muscles. So I'll lead you through just a pretty brief flow. We'll start in Utkatasana, which is also known as chair pose. Just come to the top of your mat, and then keeping your feet about hip width or shoulder width apart. And then here, with an exhale, you'll sink into your hips, hands coming straight up on overhead. And then just bringing your pinkies towards each other as to create a bit of space between your ears and your arms. Feeling a little bit of that stress into your hips, not going too deep if you're not warmed up yet. And just looking straight ahead. Side bodies are nice and engaged, core is strong, turned on. And then here we're going to shift our weight to our right foot as we start to slide that left foot back into Anjaneyasana, which is high crescent lunge. And when you find that footing with your back foot, you can sink down just a little bit lower into your right hip. Making sure to keep that right hip from pushing forward, tucking it back, and then that left hip pushing forward, which means you're giving a lot of resistance with that back leg. And taking a couple of deep breaths here. Making sure that front knee is stacked on top of your right ankle. Then on an exhale, we're going to bring our hands to our side and pivot the body forward into arrowhead. So everything with your arms and your upper body should be on the same plane. One more breath here. And then going into warrior 3. You're going to slide that left foot back along the mat and then coming onto your right leg. Bring your hand, keeping your hands just by your side. If you feel like it, you can bring them forward. And then if this is a little bit too intense for your right leg, you can keep that back foot down just on the tippy toe. And then here we're going to go into standing splits. So dropping your hands, left leg comes up towards the sky, upper body is strong, maybe just resting on the fingertips. And then here we'll drop down into warrior 2, so that back foot comes down to a 45-degree angle. Chest comes up, hands up and over, and then reaching out. You can adjust your stance if it was a little bit too short. You never want your front knee to come past your ankle. Then here we'll reverse the warrior, so flipping the right palm, bringing it straight up towards the sky, left hand reaching back for that left leg. For one breath here. On the exhale, going into extended side angle, so the right elbow comes to the right knee. Left hand reaches towards the front side of the room. And then trying to keep your upper body and your arms on the same plane. So this left arm is going straight above, not reaching over to the left side or behind you. And making sure there's a good resistance with your right elbow on your right knee. Keeping that shoulder away from the ear. And here we're going to come back into Utkatasana chair pose. So just sliding that back foot all the way to the top of the mat. Sinking down into the hips, we'll go to the other side. So sliding the right foot back. Anjaneyasana, sink into that left hip. Arms reaching strong up above head. Taking a nice deep breath here. Bringing in the pinkies towards each other to create some space between your arms and your head. Then you don't want the back leg to be completely locked out, but you want it still to be supported. So just a slight bend in the back leg. Then we're gonna go into arrowhead. Hands come back towards the sides, pivoting the body forward. Feeling that connection with those right toes. And we'll slide them forwards, putting the weight in the left foot to go into warrior 3. Again, hands can come straight overhead or they can stay by your side. Or that right foot can just come to the ground to give you that bit of extra support. Then from here, we'll go into standing split. So hands come to the ground, right leg goes up towards the sky. And then dropping back into warrior 2. Right foot finds the mat. Maybe shifting the left foot out a little bit to find that support for your hips, keeping them square. Arms reaching out, and then sink with each exhale just a little bit deeper into your left hip. With a nice juicy inhale, hands will come up into reversed warrior. And then extended side angle, left elbow to left knee. Reaching that right hand towards the front of the room, giving space between the left shoulder and the ear. That means pushing away off of that left knee. Doing this for one more breath. And we'll drop both of the hands to the ground. Left foot joins the right into a high plank. Drop the knees and bring the body all the way to the mat. Release the feet, release the hands, and then just take a deep breath and relax. And when you feel ready, just turn on over to lie on your back and we'll come into Savasana, also known as corpse pose. So lying down here, you can allow your feet to fall a little bit to the side, then keep your feet actually a bit wider than hip width apart. Shuffling around your body to find the most comfortable place where you can be for the next minute or so. Allow your palms to face upwards towards the sky, and then with each breath, start to slowly close down your eyes. So this is the yoga Nidra part where I will guide you through some meditation where you can find your final resting place, where maybe you'll find yourself in a state of hypnagogic consciousness, which is basically the point where you are between wakefulness and sleep. And this state promotes not just healing, but also recovery, and then also growth from all the work that you did previously in the Yin and Yang series. Yoga Nidra will take you through a couple of different visual spaces. So first we'll bring our attention and awareness to our breath. Something that we've started to become a little bit more familiar with pranayama, with the samavritti and the 3-part breathing. And then afterwards, we will bring our attention and awareness to our surroundings. Even though our eyes are closed, all of our other senses may become more heightened. So you'll notice smells, you'll notice what's going on around you in your apartment or maybe outside, or maybe it's complete silence. And then we'll bring your attention to your awareness of where your body is in space. So it's a rotation of consciousness. I'll start from maybe your toes, talking about the different points of contact your body has with the mat. So your heels, your calves, working your way up to your sit bones, your shoulder blades, your elbows, the backs of your palms, and then the crown of your head. And then after, I'll talk a little bit about opposite sensations. So the feeling of cold, the feeling of hot, feeling of tension and relaxation. I'll then bring you to an inner space visualization where it's a place where you can start to look a little bit more inwards and just notice where your thoughts are going to during this time of meditation. Noticing whether they have a more positive or a negative connotation, noticing them, acknowledging them, but having no real emotional attachment. And if done correctly, this eventually will lead to just a general acceptance of your mindset and where your thoughts tend to go. And then lastly, I'll ask you to wriggle your toes, to wriggle your fingers, and slowly blink your eyes open. Slowly rolling over to one of your sides and pressing your way up. There's never any rush in Savasana, which is normally around 5 to 10 minutes long. So you have plenty of time to get into this state of deep, deep relaxation. And then I'll bring you back to your consciousness, sitting in an upright position. And then we will say namaste. So looking forward to seeing you either on Zoom, any sort of private session, just contact me and we can organize a personalized session for you. Thank you very much.